Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today we're going over my first birth story. I am currently 33 weeks pregnant, so I'll have another one coming soon, but I wanted to go ahead and lay out the first one, so let's just jump right in. A little background. I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes at I think 28 weeks pregnant with my first, and because of that I had to do NST monitoring, which is basically where they just strap you up to a bunch of things and they measure, I think it's your contractions and then the baby's heart rate, and then they do your blood pressure and pulse and all kinds of stuff, but they just monitor you. Typically the minimum they told me was they have to monitor for at least 20 minutes, and then they have to get the baby's heart rate has to go up to a certain point, something like that. But they did this literally, I think it was 3 times a week or 2 times a week from the time I was diagnosed to when I had the baby. Anyway, so at 37 weeks pregnant, I went in for my NST, and it was actually my husband's sister had come into town to visit, and it was her last day, so I had this NST at 4, and then we were gonna go meet my husband for dinner. So I was like, hey, do you want to come with me? It takes 20 minutes, it's not bad at all. And she came with me. About 15 minutes in, they come and tell me everything's looking good. Already got all the benchmarks that we needed, so we're just gonna wait these last 5 minutes and then you're good to go. So we're like, heck yeah. And about 20 minutes goes by and no one's come to unhook me. So they finally come in and they're like, hey, we saw a dip in the heart rate, I want to say. We're gonna have to monitor you for an hour just to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So I'm like, okay, cool. So they leave, and then about, I don't know, 30 minutes later they come and they're like, everything's looking good. As long as it's good for the next 10 minutes, you'll be good to go. 10 minutes goes by, they don't come in. So then they come back in and they're like, hey, actually, at the very last minute, you got another dip, so we're gonna keep you overnight. She ends up leaving, and then they both brought me dinner, which was really nice. Monitored me through the night, the hospital did, and literally everything was going fine. And then at around 4:30, I had a big drop for about 3 minutes. So they actually came and woke me up and made me reposition. They said that they think that maybe the baby was just laying on the cord or something like that. That drop was big enough that they were like, you're having a baby. You're not leaving here without having one. And so I was like, okay. But thankfully I was already 37 weeks, so I wasn't super nervous at this point. But at around 8 a.m., they started me on Pitocin, which I just want to say the worst part about my entire birth experience is the freaking IV that they give you. It's in your hand. Oh my God. I don't know if any of y'all have ever gotten an IV before, but I hate it. It's the worst part. I don't know. It stresses me out. I'm not even afraid of needles and stuff, but oh my gosh, I hate IVs. Started the Pitocin at 8 a.m. and something that I didn't really know is that once you start on that, you can't drink anything or eat anything. The only thing they'll give you is little ice cubes to munch on, and they're pretty stingy about those. And at first the contractions weren't bad at all. I couldn't even feel when I was having a contraction. I think they actually started to get painful until towards the end of the day, and by then they were pretty bad. They have a rule where you can't be on the epidural until you're 4 centimeters dilated, which is frustrating. I barely dilated at all. I think I got to a 2 during that whole time, and I think they stopped the Pitocin at 8 p.m. So I was on Pitocin for 12 hours, And by the evening, things had really ramped up contraction wise, and it was hurting. It's funny too, because you know, at 8 o'clock they were like, okay, like you can finally eat because we're stopping the Pitocin. And I was in so much pain. I was like, I don't even want to eat. But I did. I ended up getting a Popeye's chicken sandwich, mac and cheese, and I think a sweet tea. And I think I just drank the sweet tea and ate like half the sandwich. Like, I was in so much pain. I couldn't deal with it. Also, like, the contractions on Pitocin aren't like normal, where they're like, you know, 30 seconds on, a minute off, or whatever. It's erratic. And so I felt like there was no give time. Like, I wasn't getting a break at all. Like, it was just pain after pain. And also, they're doing continuous monitoring. So I have the things placed on my stomach. And so whenever I'm getting a contraction, I'm having to just sit like this because I can't move. Because anytime because to me it felt best to kind of like roll over on my side, kind of like in the fetal position, and just kind of like wait it out. They weren't able to get like the readings while that was happening. So literally she kept coming in, the poor nurse kept coming in and being like, you have to stay still. Like, I think that was definitely the hardest part, is, you know, you're experiencing the worst pain ever. And you're just having to be like, okay. Like, gave me, I don't know what drug they gave me. It wasn't an epidural. It was like something they put in the IV, and it literally knocked me out. It made me so tired. And hold on. And I think around 4 is when I kind of like started to wake up, and they started my Pitocin early again that morning. I don't know what time. I think it was at 6 is when they started it. I'm not 100% sure. And that little intersect of time from when I woke up at 4 to like when I got my epidural at 8 a.m. was the worst. And it was so funny. I was like in so much pain. I was like actually vomiting. That was not cool. And I'm throwing up, and it's so funny. My husband was completely asleep during this time. And I didn't want to wake him up, by the way, because I don't want to be talked, when I'm like hurting, I don't want to be talked to. I don't want to be looked at. I like the nurses, even though they're so sweet doing their job, I like didn't want to see them. Like, I just wanted to deal with my pain and lay there and hate life. Oh, I just couldn't believe though, me throwing up and him not hearing it. I was like, wow. But anyway, so I ended up like telling the nurse, I'm like, please call my doctor and see if I can get the epidural. And I was not dilating. I think at this point I was at a 3, so I still wasn't at what I needed to get a fucking epidural. So she called and they agreed to it, thank God, because I was over it. I was done. I was ready to walk out of there at that point. They come and give me an epidural at around 8 a.m. and it's not bad at all. Just so you know, it seems really scary, but number one, I would take anything at that point. Like, there is no, like, you're in so much pain, like, you don't really care, I promise. They numb you first, I'm pretty sure. They give you, like, numbing shots. That doesn't hurt at all. And then I didn't feel the epidural go in at all. I think he said, like, you're gonna feel some pressure. I don't feel like I felt that at all. And then they put like a catheter in, I think, in your back. Give you a little button so you can control how much like drugs you get. And he told me effects of the epidural, you might not feel it for another 20 minutes. But that wasn't true at all for me. Literally, I don't know if it was placebo or what, but the second he put it in, I was like, I felt so much better. I was just so relaxed at that point. Once I had that epidural, life was groovy. I was joking around. We were playing board games. I was having the time of my life, and they put like a catheter in, I think, so you don't even have to like pee or anything. Like, life was just so good at that point. They came and checked me about an hour and a half later, and I was at 10 centimeters, so they were like, oh my gosh, you're about to need to start pushing. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, it's only been an hour. I don't think I actually had pressed the button at all. Like, I don't think I had given myself any more medication at that point. I think we just went straight into it, and then it was just a few pushes. I think maybe 3 to 5 pushes, and the baby was out. I've heard people say that they like feel really out of it when they have the epidural. I didn't feel that way at all. I felt a lot more out of it when I was in like a lot of pain. Once I got that epidural, I was able to just like focus on being in the moment and very happy. And I remember everything. The second, you know, they gave me the baby, I felt, you know, this huge rush of emotion, so happy. So I personally didn't feel like it affected me mentally anyway. Like, I was very happy. Probably about an hour after the birth, I was able to walk around. That was my birth experience. Yeah, so I hope this makes you feel a little better, just in case you're not sure what you want to do. I definitely think if you're on Pitocin, epidural is a great choice. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you Wednesday. Bye.